From bureaucrats and politicians now to the quest for jobs for those passing out of college. It seems to be getting harder to get hired, whether it is in the IT sector or in another one. IT major Infosys isn't sure of going to campuses for recruiting freshers, as it has a huge stock of the bench on the bench, and media reports suggest that there's a record jump in those searching for jobs in sites like LinkedIn. NDTV Sakshi Bajaj decodes the job realities for the fresh graduate to set up our special focus discussion this evening.
IT majors such as Infosys and Wipro, along with some others, are unlikely to visit college campuses this year to hire freshers, while the Chief Human Resources Officer at TCS said in his commentary during Q2 earnings that their process for campus hiring has been initiated for this year. The big question is, why is overall hiring in the IT industry hitting a roadblock? Well, NDTV spoke to IT analysts who said IT firms still have a significant fresher bench from the previous year, and many still aim to enhance utilization, which essentially means training freshers already in the system and giving them job roles. However, what else is causing this shift? IT firms suggest there's been a demand decline, in particular from key markets like the US. This essentially means demand decline of software services and order flows being slow due to the slowdown in global economies. Now, co-founder of Infosys and currently chairman of HCL Ventures, Chris Gopalakrishnan, told NDTV that the Indian IT services industry is a reflection of the global economy, and given that the global economy is going through a slowdown at the moment, the Indian IT industry's growth has also slowed down. He also said that the global economy will bounce back, and so will the Indian IT industry. Now, to all those freshers wondering what happens to their future and whether this is a long-term or a short-term scenario, NDTV spoke to experts who believe this could be a near-term to medium-term scenario lasting up to 2 to 3 quarters, with some saying salary hikes may come in the third quarter as the only silver lining for the sector at the moment.
So joining us this evening to understand job realities in India, Prabir Jha, founder and CEO of People Advisor, who has led HR functions at leading Indian conglomerates, as well as Urvashi Verma, head of talent acquisition at Xperi APAC. But first to you, Prabir, do you see this as something that's going to remain as a worrying trend for a while, given that there is so much global uncertainty, or do you see us tiding through this?
It depends on the time perspective, really. I think this fiscal is definitely out. So at least till our end of fiscal March 31st, I don't think things are going to dramatically change, particularly given the geopolitical scenario, which is only getting from bad to worse. Crude prices going up, general recessionary sentiment in the US, which has been a big consumer of Indian IT services, and with the elections that are due in the US next year. So I do not think any dramatic change that is going to be happening. But, as I saw in your report as well, I personally believe that these are business cycles, and every business cycle will have to live through this trough till good times return. And therefore, a lot of the talent acquisition thinking, the employee mix, if you would want to call it that, is changing, because what companies are wanting is what can give us the maximum bang for the buck. And I think instead of investing, therefore, in hires who are productive only, let us say, after 6 months to 8 months, given the fact that your outlook is a little somber, I think they are being more prudent, more conservative, given some of the experiences that this sector underwent a couple of years ago.
They're being prudent and watchful as they go ahead, you say. Urvashi Verma, is this an across the sector trend, or do we see it in specific sectors?
Basically, I think that IT sector has been, dramatically got affected with the economy slowdown across the world. But yes, there are, lack of opportunity in other sectors as well, as compared to what we have seen in the past. But still, there are, positions coming in, people are getting hired, hiring is happening on full swing in other sectors like manufacturing, what I have noticed in the last year.
And in terms of spin-off that one sees, Prabir, from across the board, from the global environment, is this going to be dictated primarily by global concerns, or is there something domestic that could potentially change this?
So, my own take is I'm very bullish overall on the Indian economic reality. In fact, if you were to kind of disregard IT as a sector for some time, I think, given my own conversations and my work from mining and metals all the way to healthcare and everything in between, I think there is a dearth of talent. People are looking for good talents, including campus hires. The way I look at this entire situation is every crisis is an opportunity. The problem is our minds have got trained to XYZ companies coming and hiring X number of people, and therefore people join these programs of engineering to be just picked up by an IT company. So much so that if you remember 2 decades ago, when I was myself working in the IT industry, we would hire 18 months ahead of the passing out timelines, right? Because that was the mad rush. And it went from good to better or from bad to worse, because literally anybody who could do anything irrespective of education, qualification, sector joined IT. I think this is an opportunity for some reset. I think there are many sectors which would do well to absorb some of these bright minds in their sectors. I think this was long overdue. I think it's an opportunity for rebalancing the larger macroeconomic needs that multiple industries have. And both for students and for industries, yes, it looks a little different. And therefore, anxiety, panic, tension, which I'm not saying is going to go away. But I think what the IT slowdown is going to do is throw up many opportunities, and wise boys and girls are going to look at this as an opportunity of reimagining where they want to start their career from. The challenge, however, is people think that, the only passport to success is getting into a top IT job, fresh out of college, which is a very short-sighted view of building a long-term 30-year-old career.
Urvashi, one of the things, while we talk of the big IT majors not possibly going in for campus, one of the issues that one keeps hearing about is the funding winter for startups, the ability of them to absorb some of this fresh talent that comes out, right?
Yeah, definitely. That is the main reason, basically, and it all coming from the from the economy, what is slowing down, and we have seen that what is happening in the States and UK market, how it is happening, and that is definitely affecting India market. But I see many other concerns as well. Like we have a lot of institutes open, but are they adopting the new curriculum? There is definitely a lack of curriculum adoption where we see that students are not getting that much skilled during their curriculum, which company can afford to hire them. They are still going through a very old-paced curriculum. A lot of private companies, a lot of private universities are getting open, but are they, aligning their courses with what companies are looking forward for now? Because technology is changing very fast. Definitely, IT industry has a lot of demand and a lot of changes happening also very frequently. Every 6 months, we are seeing that new technologies is coming up. New kind of IT languages are coming up. People are working on cutting edge technologies all the time. So there is definitely a lack of things. There is another thing which I think that university should work is on career mentorship of students. If students are not getting the right mentorship from the people from industry, there are people who are looking who have achieved a lot of things and they have a lot of knowledge to share with the students, but there is no right programs or platforms where they can share their knowledge with coming talent and guide them how to start their career. Because IT industry, definitely, industry was booming and a lot of things were happening. But there are other platforms as well. If there is a recession or slowdown in hiring in IT, there are a lot of other things students can do.
Right. Prabir, if there was advice, A, to the student who's searching for a job, who's just passed out, B, to perhaps a university preparing for a student coming in the next 1 year out passing out of a job, what would it be?
So for students, very clearly that they must not see this as a final outcome on their career possibilities. The despondency, the gloom and doom that typically they get into is not worth it. These are just start points. And where you start from may have nothing to do where you will finally reach. So I think the important thing is to be creative, to be open to ideas, industries, opportunities, My favorite example is don't always try to eat the same kind of fish that you've always eaten or with which you went into college. So I think it's just about keeping your minds open and exploring, as Urvashi also said. And I very strongly believe that there are so many sectors which could possibly throw up very exciting careers, but you need to think different and you need to look beyond the Joneses. So that's the first part. As far as the universities and colleges are concerned, I must appreciate what Urvashi said. I have a same feeling that at the end of the day, they have to stop being sweatshops of just churning out people who finished 4 years of engineering of any quality and standards. I have been a very strong believer of vocationalization, and this higher education frenzy is something which is a separate conversation, but I think it's creating more problems societally and academically apart from employment. Universities must therefore continue to start exposing their students to newer ways of looking at opportunities. There is no conversation, there is no mentorship. It is all about getting people from companies who are potential employers to come and speak. I don't think that's mentorship. I think you need to expose them very wide rather than just an inch deep. I think this is one thing that they must do very differently if they visualize at least the next 2 to 3 years out.
It's another conversation, but one that's extremely important and need to be had with universities, with students. But as you mentioned, the dream job getting more difficult. Thank you too for joining us on the show here. We'll keep a close watch both on the jobs market as well as the politics in the country. That's all we have time for on the Southern View this evening.